All right, team, welcome. I know it's been a long day, so fingers crossed I don't take an hour. I'll just come in, talk some shit, share a little bit of vulnerability, and see where we go. Yeah, fuck. I mean, language is going to be a little fruity. All right, if you don't like it, we came in some doors, exit them. But as you can see on the board, physical, mental health, as you can see on the old sheet, we're going to talk about some nitty gritty things, yeah? So if I'm going to be all prim and proper and be a toff, I think I'm going to lose a lot of folks. First of all, thank you for sticking around. I know the pub is open. I did check. It was the first place I went, hence why I checked in real late last night, maybe about midnight, but you got to do what you got to do, right?
Hey, I'm not judging.
No, I'm not judging myself either. Does everyone understand what I say? Yeah, if you can't, just, oi, Blondie, do us a favour, speak English. There is a ballot going on of where I'm from. If you get it wrong, if you enter, you get it wrong, you owe me a pint. All right. Physical mental health, bridging the gap. All right. I was always fascinated by stories. All right, by stories. I was, why? Why do people do things? So, boss, why are you here?
Why are we all here?
And don't say about CDP. I've been asking people all day, like, what? Why are you here? I was like, I have to be. You're like, oh, great. Thanks. But a little bit of background on myself. I'm 28 now. I started working in fitness at 14. Basically, on a little patch of grass, I used to bring a little bin bag and be like, do you want training? Like, oh yeah, sure. £1.50 I used to charge for 90 minutes. I remember having to haggle the shit out of this guy because he was like, $150 for 90 minutes? I was like, yeah, come on, I'll train you. I'll be on your case. Anyway, I did get the £1.50 and I managed to take it to the bank and in the north get a pint. But over those years, I've traveled around. Nomad is the business. I guess I'm that guy who just kind of travels around seeing a lot of faces. All right, hence why I'm probably more interested and fascinated in stories. All right, I started off assistant PE teacher in a school in Manchester where you had to go through the doors, metal detectors, double lock them, make sure you strip out all the pockets. Everyone was wheeling and dealing in school, trying to slash each other up. It was a fun gig. And then worked for Man City, coached their under-10s, which was pretty funky. Again, way better than me, and I'm just like, do us a favor, just play football and come back to me in an hour. And then I had the opportunity to go down south in the UK. Ended up being the head strength and conditioning coach for a swim team. Facilitated the journey of 350 kids in a week, which was again a little crazy. Coming out of Manchester, a little rough around the edges, and then kids were rocking up in Rolls Royces, and I'm like, what is life? What is difference? A bit of a chalk and cheese, head and tails type thing. But yeah, I came over here. I lived here for 5 years. I now live in Sydney, in Australia. So I've seen a lot of faces over that time. All right, and the biggest thing to me is the similarities between people rather than the differences. Right, the biggest success story, if you really want to say, one lady that I used to coach went to the Olympic Games, and then we got some other people who may or may not have spent some time in juvenile detention. Right, so there's a big disparity between those people, and it's like there's more similarities in my eyes. I see them, look them in the eyes, I hear their stories a little bit, and you're like, actually, maybe these things are not separated. Maybe they're actually more linked. But notoriously speaking, we do this, right? And be like, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on my physical health. I'm going to go get some guns. I'm going to try and get some attention from the ladies and fail. Or I'm going to sit around and, clowns, behave. You're the captain. If I go down, you're coming down with me. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to, do some mental health stuff. I'm going to work on my mindset. I'm going to, sit on a silent retreat or whatever. I think they're all great tools to add to the toolbox. But notoriously speaking, they have been separate. And I don't know, I think I'm blonde and I've had too many concussions accumulated over the years. And it took about 10,000 people for me to be like, maybe they're linked. I know growing up, I started, In sports, I'm sure a lot of people are the same, and that's why we're in here in the fitness industry. Usually those kids that can't sit still, as you can see, I'm walking up and down and I'm fiddling around with my bloody pen. I didn't do well in school, right? But I found sports. I went into sports, and then I ended up working on that on the right-hand side of the board, that mental health. Because I could take whatever was going on up here and I could add it into the old lungs, chest, legs, whatever. I worked on the physical health as well. And it kind of linked, and I was like, okay, well, if these kids that we really relate to can work on these things together, and then also an elderly lady trying to pick up a grandkid is walking out with the chest a little taller, she feels lighter, the energy on her looks lighter, it feels lighter. I was like, well, the fuck is this thing? You know, there's something linking these two things together. All right, so, I mean, give us something to work on your physical health. What are we doing? Clarence?
Just be fit.
Just be fit.
Or just strength training.
Yeah, strength training, yeah. Who said what?
Do some activity.
PG activities, right? No one get that? Thank you. Jesus Christ, tough crowd. Yeah, and it benefits like biomarkers, right? And maybe our ability to do things, express ourselves physically. We're bound to these meat sacks, the skin and bone thing. Like, we're gonna have to look after it, otherwise we can't look after each other. Yeah? Like, if I die at 50, that's it, it's over. See you later. All right, but if we can live to 100, maybe we can help some more people out. And then on this side, yeah, what are we gonna do for the old mental health? Fuck all?
Listen.
Oh, I'm no expert. I'm just a guy with a couple of experiences and some stories in there. Go for a hike, yeah, they're great. Especially in this country, eh? This country taught me a hell of a lot, especially the land. I'll tell you that for a fact. That South Island, damn. But anyway, yeah, go for a hike. Mental health, clear this out. Okay, but what happens if they're linked? What is it? How do we do that? And to be honest, I've been thinking about that for a long time. You know, subconsciously when I was a very young kid. And then now it's all I do, all I think about. So there's three heads of my triangle, or three heads of the dragon, as I like to say it, with an umbrella above it. And that's the title of this talk, Bridging the Gap Between Mental and Physical Health. So the three heads that I do is coaching some fitness. Let's work out. Let's show you how to squat, talk some shit. Cool. See you later. High five. See you tomorrow. Number two is I write books, and I'll show you a little bit of a caption later on. It's actually poetry books, all right? So it's completely different, maybe a little bit more towards the other side. Certainly weird as being a young dude. And then the third one is actually related to a story I'm going to tell you. This is, I do a podcast. It's called The Nomadic Podcast, and it was birthed humbly. It was birthed out of just a conversation, all right? So if anyone has any questions, please just throw them out to me. I like to do these things as more of a two-way conversation rather than I'm the fucking expert, shut up, see you later. You know, it's not my jam. I'm not going to throw stats at you. I'm not going to do that. Let's just talk. Let's get to know each other. But I'll tell you a story. It was about 7 or 8 years ago. I was working in the south of England, and it was in a CrossFit gym, CrossFit-style gym. You know, the old warehouse is freezing. It was winter. You know, it's bloody cold. Anyway, it was probably about 5:45 in the morning. And everything was all prepared, you know, mentally rehearsed what I'm going to do for the board, how am I going to run, I got to my timestamps, I know he's going to turn up, everything's all clean, yeah, cool, I'm good. New one comes in, new member comes in, how you doing, you okay? Yeah, I'm pleased to meet you. Has a good time, wish him have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow. When are you next in? Tomorrow, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow rocks around and doesn't show up, day after doesn't show up. About 4 or 5 weeks go by and I'm thinking, shit, you know, we're all working fitness, or maybe have aspirations to be in fitness. So we have to be on our own case about the service that we provide, right? It's like, maybe I made a joke that, well, just like this room, it fell flat. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to adapt on the flat, right? Or maybe I missed him. Maybe I didn't give him enough points. Maybe my service wasn't actually good enough. You know, tough shit, Al, you're not good enough. Maybe that was the case. And he came back in about 4 or 5 weeks later and he said, Coach, can I speak to you? And I said, absolutely. And he comes up to me and goes, apologies for my absence. I said, you don't need to apologize to me. I'm not your mum. You know, we met each other once. We spent 60 minutes with each other. You don't owe me nothing. Apart from paying, anyway. And he turned around and said, no, like the reason why I've not been in is I've not been doing too great. I was like, okay, like here we go. We're about to enter a pretty difficult conversation. Here we go. And he said, yeah, I was in my garage on a stool with a noose around my neck and I was going to step off. I'm like, fuck, okay, shit. Like, are you okay? Sounds like a dumb question to ask, but looking at a human in the eye, are you okay? Yeah. I realized the benefit that I got from that group class, because somebody that I didn't know, that barely even remembered my name, just wanted to be like, yeah, good job. Like, you're doing really well. Like, even though I couldn't finish the workout, I finished last, da-da-da-da-da. They gave me a high five, a fist bump, and they were like, I'll see you tomorrow. And you noticed when I was absent. And you felt the benefit all day. Like, fuck, I achieved something. You know what I mean? Oh, I got in, I did something, I feel pretty good. I feel like 6 foot tall when I lie down. Come on, it's been a long day, guys, yeah? Like, we can all go to the pub later, but we've got to start half smirking at my jokes. Anyway. Comedy is not ahead of the dragon. But anyway, we made a deal. We decided. I was like, I tell you what, I'm going to give you a bit of my time, and we're going to talk. We're going to do a session, and you're going to come to my class when I don't have a session afterwards, and we're going to go get coffee. And we did. And we did for forever, for a long time. And ended up getting a bit of momentum, and I saw him once a week, twice a week, 4 times a week, 6 times a week. He wanted to come in every day, and I said, go away, go see your family, go work on like life, you know, like this thing is not everything. But we started talking, we opened up this conversation, and we were real to each other. I wasn't going through the best of times myself. Like, I was working 18 hours a day. You know, there was little slither that I had to myself. I said, well, there's a human being here that's suffering. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it to you. Let's do it. I got 20 minutes, I got 30 minutes, I got 45 minutes, I got an hour. Fuck it, you can have it. Let's do it. Let's have this conversation. And he ended up turning his life around. I mean, I'm still in contact with him today. He's a very good friend of mine. He got back together with his wife. He had another kid. He changed his career. He moved house. It's a success, right? Like, he got off the bloody stool, and not this way. Like, took it off, sat down and said, you know what, now I'm going to give myself another shot. And he told me something, and he said, I decided to invest in myself. I said, right. What does that mean? Oh, how? It's like, I decided to give this fitness thing another shot because of the benefit up here. And tomorrow we're going to talk about trauma and all that type of stuff. I'm going to try and relate it to coaching and get into that nitty gritty side. But today is more of like an umbrella. I was like, well, how do we do it? And my question was, if this person benefited from it, then everybody else has to, right? Like, we're all crazy together. Okay, so it was like, well, how do we get more people involved in these conversations at their own convenience? Oh, we got to do something called a podcast, right? Congratulations, you're now part of one. So please laugh at my jokes. You'll be across the internet. So I was like, okay, we got the physical health, we got the mental health. From developing a relationship with this one human being, we've done both. And to be honest, you guys taught me more than I can ever teach you. Full stop. Full fucking stop. It doesn't matter. If there's 10 people here, I can learn from 10 people. More than likely, you're going to be looking at one and be like, is that English? And can I take something away from it? Right? But my question is, how do we do this? How do we bridge it? Anyone got any ideas? Fuck yes. Relationships. Which is another better way of saying community, eh? Relationships. We'll go with that. Much smarter than me. Do you know what I was going to say? You inside my head?
I wrote the script.
Oh, good. I'm dyslexic, I can't read it anyway. So if I go off script, it's Clarence's fault. Yeah, community and relationships. And that is exactly what I was going to say. Okay, I think about it as two islands with a bridge in the middle, mainly because I'm crazy and a bit of a visual learner. Relationship with yourself, you've got you and me. We've got the sky and the water. Sorry, a child wrote it. It's not good handwriting. Right, it's figuring out who we are, right? And my old man always used to say to me, my old man worked in the police for the longest of time, and he's seen and done some things, looked after the local community, and he said to me, Al, I don't care what you do, as long as you wear your heart on your sleeve and you speak from it as often as you can. That's it. We work with people, we're front of house. We see people. Our goal is to help them. If we don't see them and get to know them, how can we help them? If they don't see us and get to know us, how can they receive that help? I don't know. Like, that to me, again, maybe it's the northerner, maybe it's the blonde guy, maybe it's, I don't know, the concussions, but it doesn't make sense. It's like, we got to take that mask off. You got to develop that relationship with you. Who the fuck are you? So, boss, who are you?
And then they can go
Oh, now we're getting it deep.
Entity that is created by my ancestors, the people around me, the place I live, my history, the environment I live in, the list goes on.
So the list is like yay high. Yeah,
5 cents.
exactly. So how are we supposed to say coach, Alex, daughter? You know, is that it? Is that all we are? No, it's got to be a lot, right? But through developing that relationship with who we are and continuously developing the relationship with the people in front of us, we can show them a little bit more vulnerability, a little bit more realness, right? You know, Oscar Wilde said we're verbs, not nouns. Yeah, it's not, I'm just Alex. Cool. What the fuck is that? It's like, maybe we gotta develop that. Maybe that's how we bridge that gap. We work on the relationships, we work on the community. Because we all know how to squat. I can teach you that in 5 minutes, less than. Put your feet shoulder widths apart, turn your toes slightly out, knees go track toes, maintain a neutral spine, push your bum back and down, put your eyes on the horizon and give me jazz hands. Like, there you go, you've just squatted, see you later, I've taught you something. But how do we then facilitate people upon the journey? How do we continuously help them? Because if it's not, and it's, I'm going to teach you how to bench press, lat pull down, burpee, wouldn't that just be a trainer? But is trainer the end game? Is this kind of two-way street, or one-way street, I should say, like transaction, the end game? Or do you want to help people continuously? I think it starts with you. I think it starts with me. I think it starts in the middle. Now, I wanted to share a little snippet. It's actually at the end. And then I'm going to open it up and we're going to have some questions. We're going to open some dialogue. We're going to develop, who am I? Who are you? Who are you, Clarence? We're going to do that. But I wanted to share with you basically the end. It says, our task may be a simple one, although it is ever present. It's figuring out who we are, developing understanding and compassion for who we once were, and intentionally creating the person who we wish to become. Reminding ourselves that we have a choice. We are not a victim. We choose who we become. So my question is a simple one. Who are you? I think that's how we do it. Now, that's a thought. Like I said at the start, I'm no expert. I just had a series of experiences over a lot of countries now, a lot of people, a lot of faces, hearing a lot of stories. And I'm going to touch on some more stories about it tomorrow with the deep, heavy trauma, okay? But we got these little stories, these little things to us. We got multiple layers. I think that's how we do it. Maybe we walk out of the gym and be like, we're a little bit more accomplished. You know, we got to develop a relationship with oneself and yourself and yourself and yourself and yourself. And we're like, we now have a community to lean on when times get rough, when that takes a back seat. And we got questions to ask when this one takes a back seat. the physical side. Maybe I got a bad knee or God knows what. Maybe I tried running and my calf blew out and it said, Alex, I should have just stayed in the squat rack or the pub. It's the English guy in me, you know what I mean? Always going for the pub. Team, we got any questions? Holy shit, come on. Do us a favor, talk to me. Who are you? No, I'll come to you, brother. Yes, screenshot.
Who am I?
Yes, sir.
I want to guess your jokes. I called Manchester in my head before you said
Oh, I love you too. Yeah, great city, great city. God's gift to earth. Anyway, yeah, who are you? What do you identify as? What is the layers of the person in front of me? That's true. I forgot it was Saturday. I thought it was Monday. I usually come in on a Monday morning, all guns blazing, and people are like, "Fuck off! Like, do us a favor. It's 5:30 in the morning on a Monday. I'm still hungover." And I'm like, "Right, what's your purpose? What are we doing?" Like, da 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 da. But anyway, yeah, boss, what are we doing?
multiple things, I guess. Father, son, a coach,
Hmm.
husband, an uncle. Lots of different things.
I got a question. What are the 3 words you tell your younger self?
I don't.
You don't. You don't what?
Talk to my younger self.
You just let him do his thing.
He's done his thing.
He has done his thing. Got to look forward, right? Who are you?
I'm me.
Who's me?
I am someone that has no idea what they're doing. I'm
Join the club.
23 years of age. Have been through an abundance of things since a kid. Probably only just coming to terms with talking about a little bit.
Mm.
Life still smashes me. And I'm learning how to persevere through things and still continuously show up, even when the world is crashing around and when you lose someone close to you, because that's probably one of the most important things, because just because their life came to an end doesn't mean that yours does.
Mm.
You can have a minute where everything feels shit, but it's about how you pick yourself up and you get on track with your purpose, why you're here, why you do what you do. And literally, no matter what anyone says, you can do and get anything that you want. The world is literally your oyster. And as much as everyone will go, your dreams are crazy, you can't do this, you can't do all these different things, you can if you manage your time properly. If you get up and you really want it, you can make anything work. And I think that's something that a lot of people forget now, because we're in a day of age of wanting to be like this influencer, or we want to be this person or this person, and we get so caught up on wanting to be someone else because they've got all these followers or they've got this or they've got that, rather than what do I have, what do I bring to my life, what do I offer other people, and how can I make other people's day better, how can I make my own day better, because if I can sit through and do things alone, and I can genuinely go, if I want to go to a festival and none of my group wants to go, I still go because I don't want to miss out on that. Go and meet other people, because you don't know what that's going to offer and what that's going to bring to you. You don't never know who someone is going to become to you, and you don't know what opportunity is going to be led. I think that just comes from experience. When I came here a year ago, I had $100. I was in Tauranga at the start of the year with $100 spending. I had my family in Australia telling me to come back because New Zealand had nothing to offer me. This year, I've become a club manager. I've done 2 music videos, like dance music videos for dance. I got back into dancing, which I stopped when I was 18 and said that I never would do again. I've been teaching. I've learned how to DJ in 6 weeks and got up on a stage when I lost one of my best mates to suicide. And I think everyone confront
what they go through, because we all go through shit. It's just about being nice to each other at the end of the day. And I think that's what we forget with social media and having these standards of what we need to look like, or what we need to do, or what you need to have to be this big thing, rather than we just need to be kind to each other. We just need to genuinely be nice and open up to each other.
You gonna give her a round of applause or what? Oh. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing a bit of honesty, but thank you. You should thank you for developing a relationship with you, like the boss said behind. Because without that, we got to look back. I think we do. I said, don't look back. You're not going in that way. It's like, okay, Sherlock. Like, if you don't look back, you don't know who you are. It's like understanding the armor. You're like, yeah, I've been through some things. Yeah, I'm going to put this armor on. And you look back, you're like, fuck, that's actually really heavy. And then you start looking at all the stages, and then you look here, and then slowly you start looking at the way you're going. And when you start looking at the way you're going, you take the armor back off, you let it drop, and you carry on walking. But you need to go through that stage, man. I think you do need to go through that stage. You got to sit down on your own and be like, who am I? Who am I? What is this? And that is what your country taught me, right? That's what that is. That's the third book. Well, I've written 5, but that's the third out of a series, and it's supposed to depict a character arc, because we all go through some bullshit. We all start at X. We all go through certain situations, and we're all products of our environment, unfortunately, but that's not a sentence. You have your hands in shackles, and you have the key. You can unlock it and drop it to the floor. I came out of a council state. I'm blue collar through and through. Everything around was violence. Everything that people were carrying was about yay big, and it goes in and out and comes back out blood red. Is that a sentence? No. Like, you get to decide. That's X. That's where you start. And then when you inevitably make a decision, say, I'm going to make the harder decision. I'm going to take a right step or a left step in your perspective. And be like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not for me. That's not my life sentence to live. We do that. We drop down. We have chronic friggin' depression for a long time. We're like, oh, God damn, like, the other side looks a little shinier. And the grass on the other side looks way greener. Thank you for making it rain, by the way. It makes me feel like home in summer. I did come out with some sunscreen on today. I must have missed my nose. Rain or shine, I got a red nose. They call me Rudolph, fuck. But we get depressed. We get depressed as shit. Yeah, that drops. And then what do we do when that drops? We lean on this, on the relationships. And we lean on this. We hit the gym hard. Lads, you go through a breakup. Lads, something happened. You get depressed. What do? We bench every day. We lift heavy ass weight. Right? But we can always learn from the ladies too. What do? You open up to your mates. You lean on them. Lads, what can we do? This. Fuck's sake, open your mouth. Open your palm and open your mouth. Don't bloody close it. Pack it in. Pamela Henderson is not joining us tonight, especially with other people around. Thanks, boss. But ladies, what can we do? We can go to the gym and get something out. We slide. It's a pendulum. But then what happens? We end up doing this, man. We come back up. It's the perspective we gain from the experiences that we've gone through, right? It's the lessons within there. It's the wisdom within there. And how can we learn that? Without going through it, we share the friggin' stories. I did it in a weird way. I wrote down, but I'm a bit of an introvert, which is ironic because I'm in front of you today. Makes me feel really uncomfortable. It's probably why I'm jittering around. Had too much caffeine. But we share it. Yeah, we develop a bloody relationship. You're not going to do that bullshit no more. Why? Because I am my brother's keeper. That's it. We're going this way. We're going progress. Yeah, we develop the community and everything else bloody rises on top of it. Okay, I had a teacher in school, one teacher that I listened to. They did me good. Like, they put me into rugby rather than spend a lot of time in isolation. So then they shoved me in rugby and said, chase after an egg, hit people with this, not this. I said, why? This is kind of fun. Anyway. And they said, Alex, it's about building the foundation on the rock, not the sand. Tide comes in twice a day, mate. Your foundation's fucked. Twice a day. Wishy-washy. Build it on the rock. Keep building. Any questions? Yes, boss.
I want to ask you about the story you told before.
Which one? I tell a lot of stories, man.
Yeah, the guy who was at the store who was about to.
Yes, sir.
So just envision a scenario where you've been through with it and how that would have affected you now and moving forward.
That's a beautiful question. Did I envision a story where he was successful in his aim and he didn't think back to the situation and he stepped off and he's no longer here? Did I envision it in that time? No. I'm trying to be present with the bloke. I'm trying to look him in the eyes and see him what's there. I think people tell you what they need. They do. You just got to look in their eyes and see it. We just don't want to because it's uncomfortable. That's why I said at the beginning, I'm just going to offer you some vulnerability. My heart's here. I'm going to speak from it. You don't like it? Fuck it. You know? We don't have to have that conversation. Not everyone has to be your mate. But did I envision it? Not in that moment. Do I envision it ever since? Hell yeah. It scares the shit out of me. That there's more. Not just, it will be the first time. It's like, no, there's literally a pile of bodies behind us. But what are we going to do? Keep our mouths shut and keep the conversation silent because it's uncomfortable? Does that sound like a good idea? No, because people only want to talk about it when it's their kid, or when it's their friend, or when it's their parent. And then it really hits home. It's like, but what about if it's your friend's friend? What about if it's 2 degrees of separation? Like, we're in New Zealand, there's 5 million people here. There's not a lot of people. Right? We know everybody. It's kind of weird. Everyone's like, do I know you? Hi. And I'm like, I don't think I know you, but maybe. Hello. Like, how many?
6, isn't it?
I think that's the world.
It used to be 3. Yeah.
You can't get up to trouble here, man. That's why I had to leave. You know, incognito is no more. But what do we do when things does happen? Well, that's a very traumatic experience for everybody who's left behind. First of all, we have to acknowledge that. And then when you're ready, as individuals, we need to lean on someone else. Because a weight halved is a weight shared, right? Or the other way around, I don't know. The other way around, let's go with that one. Thank you. Trying. We gotta lean on each other. Because what? Are we arrogant enough to believe that we can do this thing alone? Are you fucking crazy? Like, I know I'm hard, but do I really think I can complete this life thing alone and accomplish everything? Like a lone wolf? No, you're out of your mind. No, we need each other. I think we could solve everything. It's in our hands. I have a lot of hope and faith in people. And I've seen the fucking worst of them. I know where the mind goes. But that means if it can go this way, it can go that way. And we got to keep each other around and keep us on the straight and narrow. Does that answer your question? You got to rein me in. I fall off on tangents. Like, I fall down rabbit holes. I'm like Alice in Wonderland. Please, talk to me.
I have a question as well. Because you mentioning about the self-talk aspect, building relationship with yourself.
Yes, miss.
I want to know, what are your top tips? What do you say to yourself, and what do you encourage young men
Oh,
to say to themselves? Thank you.
no, thank you. Don't thank me, I'm trying to do my job, you know? What do I tell young men? That's a brilliant conversation. And I just published a poetry book called Cigars and Scotch. And at the end, it's not that one, but the blurb is the becoming of a gentle man. And I think we cringe at that, right? Because we want to be tough. Okay, well then I ask myself, why do I want to be tough? Because I'm scared of an outcome that potentially might come true. Okay, so what's the epicenter of that thought and that feeling? Fear. Hypervigilance. Things can always happen. You're always worried about the unknown, violence, death, whatever we've all been through, or somebody else close to us have been through. How do I talk to young men? That's a great question. And over the years, I have worked with a lot of young guys, and I was lucky enough to the first one, the one at X, first poetry book. I was lucky enough to be part of a suicide prevention package in a juvenile detention center down in Christchurch. I lived there for 3 years. And what do I tell them? I don't tell them nothing. I don't be like, this is what you need to do, bro. I show them some love. Probably something that they've never felt, you know? Probably not open that up. They don't feel a little bit of warmth around them. A bit of consistency. That's a big one, eh? A bit of consistency. You rock in and the parental figure, the strong figure is going to show themselves in the same manner as they did the night before. Are you crazy? And if that's not the case, then you need to be hypervigilant. So yeah, no wonder. They're acting up. They're throwing things. They're breaking into things. They're carrying God knows what. They're slinging whatever. Yeah, no wonder. That's their life. That's their universe. That's the whole world. They're stuck in that. I get you. I feel it. Felt it. Probably still do at times. I got to keep myself in check. I got to lean on you guys. You got to lean on me. Unlucky for you. Fuck. What do I tell them? I show them some love. Because words without actions behind them are fucking worthless. They hold no weight. They're like a crisp packet in the wind. They blow around. And the worst thing is saying something and not following through. Because a guy will never forget it. Never. Like, you didn't fall through, bro. You weren't there when nobody else was. I rang your phone when shit really did hit the fan. Hey, if shit hits the fan, let me know. Bum, bum. No one answered. Knocked on the door, no one there. It's the action behind. Intentional action. Showing some damn love. Because, let's be honest, we don't know how to give or receive it as dudes. Why do you think we rip into each other? And you guys got it from the English. I'm sorry about that, guys. Yeah? What's up, dickhead? You're like, oh, I just showed that person the most amount of love that I could. But you just insulted them. That doesn't make any sense. When was the last time that you rang them up and said, I love you? Send them a text saying, I love you. You know? I made a big point. I get the privilege sometimes to coach coaches, to basically just pose them ideas. I just ask them questions and be like, hey, some ideas I think about, and I should probably be sleeping. And I said to them, when was the last time that you told the people that come to your gym that you love them? He said, why would I do that? It's weird. I said, because they might not hear it ever. And when you work with the little ones, I say little ones, they could be 18, they could be 25, they could be 18. You know, I'm 5'10" on a good day if I don't squat. You know, don't laugh too much. Say, no, you're 6'4". Just lie to me, you know. They might never feel that, man. And that breaks my heart. But we have an opportunity to be able to unravel that coil. Especially men to men, right? But we can come across as like stern, hard motherfuckers. All right, You got to earn yourself, bro. Why? They got to earn their life? I don't think so. No, how about we just nurture them? Let them be them. Let them develop that. Because then together we could do some cool shit. So how do I talk to them? I ask myself a few questions every morning. Are you doing the right thing? And that's usually followed by the right thing is always the right thing. And that's usually followed by, are you doing right by people? And then I ask myself, am I doing what I said I was going to do? Am I a man of my word or not? And that question right there sticks at the forefront of my brain when I work with young lads. I show them something, but I show them first. And then we'll start talking about it. Because I got to break them down first. Think of a better term. But I do. We're fidgety. We draw things. We break things. We scratch tables. You know, we're guys. So we're going to go in the gym. We're going to break ourselves down mentally. And we get to see them in a vulnerable state because a gym or yoga or martial arts takes the mask off and it places it down because now you're tired. I can actually develop a relationship with you. Okay, now who are you? So usually when they come in, you ask them, how's your day? Yeah, good. How are you? Good. How's family? Good. Cool. Crack on. 50 minutes in, they're fucked, right? Because you've read the energy and you're like, okay, I'm gonna try and get something out of this person. Like, how you doing? Oh man, I'm not good, man. Okay. Now we're gonna have a real conversation. Now next time, do me a favor, don't lie to me when I asked you the first time. And when they ask me, I'm gonna tell them straight. Not good, man. But we're here. We're here, we're slinging popsicles, and we're gonna give this one a really good bash. Why? Because what other option we got? We can lean on each other, or we can suffer in silence and cry about the damn suicide rates. Or we can do something about it. Did that answer the question? At the beginning, sorry. Rail me in, man, honestly. Undereducated, highly caffeinated. And always thinking about the pub. Sorry, boss. Yes, ma'am.
What advice would you have? I mean, I guess most of us in this room aren't necessarily equipped to handle mental health issues. So we might have clients, that are struggling with things. What advice do you have in terms of balancing out, kind of being there for them, but also recognizing when it's kind of beyond your skill set and it's, I think about the story you told in terms of individuals saying that they were kind of at a place where they were ready to commit suicide. And so that, I think, would be a bit triggering for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Situation, and I wouldn't want to mishandle it because I don't have the tools. So how do you strike that balance in terms of being there for individuals, but also recognizing when it's kind of beyond you and you need to do something?
Absolutely. Like, we're not trained professionals in that manner, right? We're not psychologists. Well, you come down, pay me $300 an hour and we're going to talk about it? No, like, we're front of house. I see it as we're like the bouncer, right? We kind of have to do everything. But that means we can't go deep into those types of things. We have to be able to punt. Be like, hey man, like, we can talk about some things and we can get into the weeds if you need to, but this is what the service that you're paying me for. And you really need to understand where you're at. Because if you're not good, you're sailing a sinking ship and you're inviting somebody on board. Now we got two who's going to drown. Like, if you don't have that capacity to be able to give that, don't. Draw the line. It's still a professional environment, right? And be like, we have a list of referees that we can link you to. We got the GP, we got da-da-da-da. It's like, why us as fitness professionals, why do we not know the local health line, right? Why do we not know somebody who works in mental health or works as a physio or whatever, right? Like, because we struggle financially. It's a rough spot to start off in. Let's address the elephant in the room. Because we're like, if we have more strings to the bow, we have more opportunity to be able to earn money. But we have a duty of care to be have a high level of efficacy in our job. It's like, we can't just be like, yeah, let me bullshit you for an hour and get paid. They're not coming back, pal. Right? So I would first address, how much can I give? And if that is not a lot, then that's all you can give. And you have to be able to draw the line because you're the professional. And if you can give a bit more, you can give a bit more. Fantastic. But we also need to know if we have a class and there's 16 people and we have 5 classes and they're all 16, that's a lot of people. And we get to Wednesday and we're burnt out, probably giving a little too much or doing too much. And it's where we need to be able to rudder adjust that. Yeah, and we need to be able to lean on some other professionals within the industry. Yes, mate.
I find that people just want someone to listen to them, not to fix their problems.
Absolutely.
That what's really hard with these conversations is that we think we're training to fix it for them, and that's why we get so overwhelmed and find it hard. But if we just show them that we're listening, that's an easier skill to develop that doesn't take too much away from us, but does a lot for them.
Beautiful. Tell her. This is leaning on other professionals within the industry, right? Like, hey, have you tried this? It's like, oh, I got this client that they maybe don't get into the ins and outs because of client confidentiality, but turn around and be like, that was heavy as hell. What's your name, sorry? Lauren. Lauren turns around and goes, yeah, how about you just listen, mate? You know, she's not asking you to fix her. Oh, that's a great point. How would you go about it? You're like, oh, I'd go about it in such a way. You're like, oh, let me give that a bash next time. You know, like, things aren't on your plate. We live in a universe in our own head, right? And think we're the epicenter. And I think we need to be able to look elsewhere and extract ourselves from that and be like, actually, there's more around. We're the epicenter, not we're the epicenter. Yes, boss.
I just want to add that they say to a lot if you remember about their personal situations and next session.
Oh.
How was about this situation? What you told me before? Hey, and blah, 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 blah.
For sure. Because then you develop the relationship, we're no longer at the surface level. We're now a little deeper and a little deeper still and a little deeper still, right? Some of like the closest friendships that I have are now family. I actually started PTing them. Like, we started off at that surface level. Now we're brothers. I just got back from LA. He's a brother of mine, but I actually started PTing him in Christchurch. You know, and we did that.
Sometimes it's even, I think sometimes PT or like another professional can be the only one.
The only one.
They can share some personal situation because we are like in a neutral position.
Yeah.
And they just need someone to share about their personal problems.
Yeah.
And they know that we will not speak about it with someone else.
Yeah.
We will not share it with other people, and that it helps.
For sure it does. For sure it does. But there's another thing, like maybe we have to cut the line. Maybe they're sharing a little too much. Hey, I don't need to know that. You know? How about you shut the fuck up and we start rowing? No, I don't need to know that, man. Like, don't tell me about how you're cheating on the No. You're going to ask me to go up in court and I'm going to have to lie to someone. I'm not doing that. You know? Like, so it's a give and take, right? Because then we need to be able to address where we're at. How much can we give? You know, maybe it's very low. Like, I've had times like that. And other times it's like, yeah, sure, I'm in. Yes, Chief.
That's a great segue to my question is, how do you specifically set professional boundaries with life while still providing maximum compassion?
How do I set professional boundaries? Beautiful. First of all, I know who the fuck I am. I know my moral compass. I know there's a line, and if you step over it, I'm out. I have physically handed cash back into somebody else's hand when I have been on the brink of being evicted from my place. Be like, I don't need your money, but you're out. Like, no, you don't. You don't owe me. I've been homeless twice. We can make it a third. That's okay. So you need to understand where you're at. You're the professional. You're the captain of the ship, not clients. I would start off with that, for sure. How would you do it?
Yeah, that's a good question. What Jasmine asked earlier kind of begs the question, where do we draw the line between mental health therapists, their purview, psychologists' purview, and where we should stand as physical health professionals and for our scope should we suicide risk or suicidal ideation, because that has been shown to insult
Absolutely.
as a clinical psychologist, health and we have this discussion quite frequently.
Yeah. And then you would refer off. And we would work with the clinical psychologists I see them face to face. You probably see them once a week. I might see them 5 times a week. We need to be able to have a professional relationship together. Where's the line for me? Where's the line for you? But we are also human. We need to be able to talk to somebody. We can't be like, you sit down, you row, have it at this angle. But like you said, 100%, they start turning around and saying, all this, let's back the Charlie up a little bit here. Yeah, like it's a give and take. And that's where our industry is a strange one. Being a coach is a strange thing. How do you define it? Like, what the fuck is this thing? I define it as a facilitation of someone upon their journey. Right, we're walking with them. I can walk with you. But if you're going in a direction that I don't want to go in, I can't walk with you anymore. I can refer on, and we can have a spider's web of relationships in the professional manner, so then we can end up continually help people, give a man a fish or teach a man a fish and all that type of nonsense, right? That's fantastic, and that's a fantastic point. It's like, yeah, if we're going down that path, like, dude, like, and you're paying me to do so, I'd be robbing you. I'm the wrong guy. Go speak to somebody else. You would get a better service. Yeah, I like that. Who had a...
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think one thing I get worried about with coaching or training when people come out with stories that are quite intense is if I say or do something wrong, they could
I understand.
do something, and then it's that feeling of being responsible when my thoughts on it now are, as long as I'm following the code of ethics and code of conduct that's kind of informed by education and what maybe a psychologist would say, then doesn't mean I don't feel responsible, but it's like that person was possibly going to do something anyway. So it's that fine balance of like, you want to look after them, but there's only so much you can actually do.
Yeah.
And you have to refer to professionals.
Yeah, you can't take...
Compassionate.
Oh, for sure. You can't take their load and place it on your shoulders. Somebody's still carrying that bloody load, right? We need to be able to have it and then splinter it and fracture it and and then, okay, we can carry this around because we all have burdens. We all have responsibilities. That's not going to go anywhere. That's why people are annoyed about the snowflakes because they don't want any responsibility. And you're like, then you're not a person. Like, we're supposed to look after one another, right? But it's not your job to be able to take that on your shoulder because we got to see a lot of folks. Then we drown. And then everything falls to pieces. I think it has to go back to that spider's web. Refer on. Hey, this is what's happened. We need to be able to, on a professional sense, to link these two together. Anyone in here have a psychologist that you know? Whether it's personal or whether that's professional. Why don't you talk to them about people that you work with? GP, same. What is our goal with this thing? Fitness, health. What are we trying to do? Why are we here? And again, don't say CDPs.
Can you speak about like bridging that gap?
Yes, miss.
With your experience from youth and young people, specifically teens, if you've worked with them? Because I'm interested in working with teenagers, but there's a whole other level of complexity to developing.
Yes.
And then, yes, relationship, but sometimes they're just not engaged, sometimes, also a productive environment. But anything you can give us on that?
I see one of the biggest problems with the youth is they don't understand what's happening. That's why during the 20s, we go through this weird mental, spiritual stage where you finally understand the things that you went through, how it impacted you. And then you're like, do I want to become that? Yes or no? You made the decision. You're not a victim. But when you're a kid, you don't get it. You don't understand. So you grasp at whatever releases it quicker. Some do drugs, some rob, some get into God knows what. The way I would talk to them is I would make it practical first. I would almost trick them. We're gonna start this journey together, but you're not going to know. And then when something happens, we're going to start dissecting it. Now, I'm going to give another example, a little story. So I speak with I used to coach a lot of kids who were violent kids, right? Antisocial behavior. They just wanted to kick living bells of shit out of each other. And I was like, first of all, I understand. Right? I was that kid. It's like, okay, well, let's work in a physical environment that is going to be incredibly hard. You're going to want to throw up. Because what can you think about in that stage? Nothing. It's like what G said when we was in the flow animal or the animal flow or whatever. When you got both hands on the ground, what can you think about? Zero. Okay, once that's done and that energy is expended, now the mask is off. Now I can teach them something. So what I'd do is I'd have a group of people, or I'd have a one-on-one basis. I've done it in a couple of different ways. I've had somebody who's been incredibly autistic and incredibly dependent on weed, right? Parent didn't give a shit. You're like, that's not a great combination. Anyway, we get them moving around. I'd show them a little bit of discipline, a little bit of consistency, right? And I'd see them twice a week. One, we'd do that, and the second, we'd play chess. Why? Because it frustrated the shit out of him. You had to sit down, you had to think about something. And many, many weeks, he hated it, walked off. Okay, I've made one move, no worries. One day, we're going to finish the game. We did finish the game. Okay? And then the other one, when they get all hyperactive, boisterous, throwing shoulders, hands, God knows what, we've broke them down. They're tired. I give them a piece of paper. I give them a pen. I give them 10 minutes. I turn the lights down. I turn the music off. I sit in the corner. You can draw, you can write, you can do whatever. I want silence. Nobody speaks. And then I share a little bit of vulnerability. You look at me, you're like, looks a little weird. He's too blonde, too pale. Sounds strange. He walks a little funky. Oh yeah, I write poetry. And they're like, the fuck? And then over time, again, consistency comes in. I've shown them. Now they're like writing lines. Now they're drawing pictures. So their expression, their emotion that they felt, that has been encapsulated within them, that movement has ended up taking it off and allowed it to come out. Got the excess out the way. Okay, let's get into the really nitty gritty stuff. And now they've expressed it. And then over time, we can actually get to the real cause of that. But I see with kids, especially teenagers, because kids, they got no idea what's going on. And that's over my pay grade, right? But when you get into the teenagers, they just don't understand. Why do they act out? Because they don't understand. Why do they not want to learn? Because they don't understand the real world application. Yeah, I didn't either, neither did most of us in here. That's why we got into fitness, It's this